As promised, I want to get us started at right around 3 minutes past the hour. We're thrilled to have you on today's webinar, really focused on career development while you're here at Bentley and how you can advance your career by joining us for one of our graduate programs and by leveraging our graduate career development services. I am joined here by a panel of people that are far more exciting than me. And so I will introduce myself ever so briefly just in order to get to them. I am Emma Emmer, Director of Strategic Programs here at Bentley University, and I have the great honor of partnering with some of my colleagues in graduate career development and bringing forth the stories of our incredible students. And so before we get into today's conversation, I would love to introduce the people that we'll be in conversation with. And so, Faith, I would love for you to start by introducing yourself.
Sure. Hello, everybody. I'm Faith Beatty. I'm the Director of Graduate and Alumni Career Development here at Bentley. I've been here about almost 3 years, and I am very lucky to manage a staff of coaches who are here to support you in their coaching, in their events, in their programming, and also support career services support for life for alumni, which is a great benefit to being a Bentley alum.
Awesome. And then Audra, I'd love for you to introduce yourself.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Emma, and welcome to all our prospective students. My name is Audra Bonney. I'm Senior Associate Director, International Student Specialist, and I am one of the career coaches that has the good fortune of working with and under Faith Beatty. I like to always say that I am a huge Bentley enthusiast. I know everybody else is here is that as well, but I like to say that because I've actually been a staff member here for double-digit years. I'm also an alum of the school who graduated with her bachelor's degree in accounting from Bentley, and I am a Bentley parent. So my 24-year-old is out in the world. She graduated in May of 2024. So that's a little bit about me, and I'll pass it back over to Emma.
Yeah, I think Audra, you do win as biggest Bentley enthusiast on this call, despite loving Bentley a lot. So I think you can say that with your full chest. I'm going to pass it over to our current students who are here to give us insight into their experience. And so, Robert, I'd love for you to introduce yourself to us.
Absolutely. Hello, everyone. It's great to be here. Just a little about myself. So my name is Robert DiMaggio. I am a STEM MBA student with a business analytics concentration, and I'm in my third and final full-time semester. And previously, I was a fresh undergrad from graduating in 2024, and then went from right to undergrad to grad school.
Wonderful. We're going to dive into all of that soon. But before that, Ethan, we'd love to hear from you.
Yeah, hi everyone. My name is Ethan Massey. This is my first year at Bentley in the Masters of Accounting program. I'm concentrating in assurance. I didn't go to Bentley for my undergrad. I actually went to the University of Vermont, but one of the reasons why I came here was because of the Graduate Career Development Center. I attended a panel like this, and it got me interested in going to Bentley for my master's. And then, yeah, so I'm happy to be here.
Wonderful. Well, I'm so excited to have you all, as I mentioned. And so I want to root our conversation in one thing, and then I want to really dive in and hear the stories that these amazing folks have to share, which is that most folks who are considering a graduate degree are doing so because they're really thinking about their career. And we want you to know that that is a key part of what we at Bentley are trying to support you in pursuing, whether that's from our curriculum, right, from the academic side, or from our broader career support services side. Today, as you heard on the panel, we have a number of people who are going to be speaking about it from the kind of career support perspective. Although Ethan and Robert, I'm hoping we can talk a little bit about how classroom interactions or faculty interactions have supported you as well in the pursuit of your career. But I hope everyone on the line is really thinking about, okay, what are my goals of my graduate program? And often that has to do with a career outcome goal. And one thing I just want to root us in that one of our colleagues talks about a lot is this idea of kind of career accelerators, career changers, entrepreneurs and what skills you might be looking to gain in each of those buckets. And so you may hear us using some of this language throughout today. And so I just want to define our terms a little bit. A career accelerator is someone who is already in their career. They maybe are happy with their chosen field, an industry, but maybe they're looking to advance and therefore change their function. Or maybe they're looking to actually adjust their industry, but they're very happy with the function that they're in. And so those are folks who often attend school part-time. They're looking for very specific things from our grad career development group, and we'll talk about that in a moment. Our career changers are folks that are looking to make significant change in their career. Often, these are folks that are maybe launching their career for the first time, or they're fully pivoting into new spaces. I think Robert and Ethan, if I remember correctly from all of our conversations, career changer is maybe a little bit what we would call you two. And then there's folks who are entrepreneurs. They want to start their own ventures and realize that they want a business background for that, and therefore, again, intersect with grad career resources in a different way than those other two groups. And so as we talk today, we're going to be talking about all those different groups and how they navigate the use of grad career resources here at Bentley. And so with that, Faith and Audra, I certainly want to start with the two of you to hear a little more philosophically about Bentley's kind of grad career offering. And so, Ethan, you brought up the fact that you went to one of these panels for Bentley and you were really compelled by it. I think my gut is you could go to a panel about grad career offerings at other institutions too. And I know that Bentley has a philosophy and a set of offerings that are really differentiated from other places. And so, Faith, if I could start with you to talk a little bit about what differentiates our grad career offerings and why do we believe that they set our students up to be particularly successful, that would be wonderful.
Excellent. Thanks, Emma. So I think we're grounded in our one-on-one coaching. The advantage of being at Bentley is that you really can really become well known within our department, graduate career development. And I think the opportunity to meet multiple times with a variety of coaches. I think coaching can be very specific to the interaction between two people, and we encourage students to try meeting with any of the coaches and see who resonates the most, or bounce ideas off of them. And I think that's a big differentiator of our career support strategy. We also are really aligned with the 2-hour job search structure in terms of our coaching, which means we are very supportive and encouraging of students networking, identifying advocates within organizations who will then assist them in referrals. In the age of AI, there are so many job applicants out there, and you really have to work hard to differentiate yourself. And so that's one of our key components. And I think, Rob, I think you may be able to talk about that later, that strategy. And also, we have an incredibly strong and committed alumni network, which is phenomenal, and we lean heavily into them. We have them on campus or virtually often. We have, I think, I was just looking this morning in preparation right now. So far, I think we have over 120 opportunities set up for the fall for students to meet with alumni. And that is just from my observation today. And I know there's going to be more opportunities as the fall develops. So I think that's an important part of our strategy. And then finally, I think we're really focused on recognizing that you are here for a very short period of time, and we try to accelerate your career understanding of yourself. We lean into assessments very strongly, and maybe Audrey can talk about that. But also we, for example, this summer we had the partnership with an organization, a 2-week program that was accelerating your understanding of industry and roles and exploration. And I think that's a really important part of managing through your career choices. So that's kind of a few thoughts.
That's wonderful, Faith. Well, I'm going to go down all of those different roles. So we heard about 4 different things from Faith. Audra, I would love for you to talk about one-on-one coaching from the coach's perspective. And then I would love to hear from our students about what that experience is like. Audra, tell us a little bit about how do you work with students one-on-one? What does it actually look like at the graduate level to have a one-on-one coach? Oh, Audra, you're muted. I'm sorry.
Always forget that. Thank you so much, Emma. But to kind of play off of what Faith was saying in terms of philosophically, answers the question that you've just posed to me, Emma, in terms of our connection with students is really important. We don't look at ourselves from a coaching perspective as transactional. We try to focus more on building relationships as opposed to, again, it being answering just simple questions. We're not a placement organization. Again, we are a partner in understanding the career journey process, which I'd like to share a little bit with you right now. So we do have not a new, but again, from an operational perspective, we've created a newer mapping your career journey process for all students. And it consists of 5 different buckets. The first bucket is choosing your career. So Faith had mentioned specifically that we lean into self-assessment and self-assessment in terms of using the career leader tool, which is a tool that was developed by Harvard career development folks. They actually didn't like what was available, so they created their own. And it's definitely something that we lean into to help students understand who they are and what their specific values are. In terms of, again, all the 5 pieces are right here, crafting your story. So thank you, Emma, for adding that as well. But again, who am I? How do I actually, again, show my value in my LinkedIn profile, in my resume, in my networking, in my interview, et cetera. So being able to do that confidently comes from a lot of self-reflection. Thereafter, we move to this searching and networking aspect, which has this seed, tend, harvest concept attached to it. And so developing connections, nurturing those relationships, and actually when it comes to searching for opportunities, being able to lean into those connections and so forth and those networks to hopefully land opportunities. We do have a lot of different events. Probably won't go into it here. I think Emma will probably ask questions about it later. But the last 2 portions of the journey are preparation for interviews. I know that Ethan and I spent a bit of time preparing for interviews, and then going through that whole process towards the end to negotiations and really understanding what the market is warranting, understanding what your negotiables and your non-negotiables are. So these are the 5 elements of the career journey. But at the end of it, it's really more about developing strong relationships with graduate students and meeting them where they are, because oftentimes they don't start just at the beginning. Some people might need to start at different places within this journey map, if you will. So that's just a little bit about how we actually approach the one-on-one coaching process.
That's wonderful, Audra. Well, Ethan, I would love to hear from your perspective because I know Audra just pointed to, I know you've worked with Audra. I think you've also worked with one of our other coaches, John, as you search for a job, which, spoiler alert, I think you have some potential good news to share with us. But I would love for you to tell us a little bit about what that experience was like for you. What did you focus on? What resources did you gain through that one-on-one experience?
Yeah, so I started back in the summer because I really wanted to make it a point of emphasis to get my name in front of a bunch of different people in a lot of different accounting firms. So the process for me looked a lot. John was able to kind of identify where I needed to work on some of my soft skills and figuring out the best way for me to network. Um, so it started there, and then I kind of just kept building up. So I would go on these informational interviews where the people I would connect with, like I'd ask them a lot about their experiences and their organizations. And that eventually led to referrals, and which ended up leading to interviews. So I then spent some time with Audra, kind of trying to figure out like how I was going to approach these interviews, how I was going to approach certain questions. And it ended up working out really well. And it led to me getting a job offer at a bunch of different firms, but I eventually picked Deloitte in the end. So I'll be starting there next fall, which is very exciting. So
Yeah, congratulations, Ethan. I just do want to call out a reminder. Ethan started here at Bentley officially at the end of August. And so the fact that he took the initiative, and this is something we'll talk about, is that Bentley offers really purposeful summer pre-work and really purposeful summer activities so that students like Ethan can hit the ground running when they only have 1 year here at Bentley. That Ethan was able to transition from an end of August orientation to having a job offer, and I mean an accepted job on October 9th, but it sounds like it was even earlier than that, is not atypical. Like that is a story that we are looking to set you up for. I will say Ethan's tenaciousness came from him, and that helps to move the process forward. But I think it's a really, really good example of leveraging exactly what Audra just described of those 5 steps to his advantage. Something else Faith talked about in her kind of 4 differentiators is this idea of us being rooted in the 2-hour job search. And Robert, I would love for you to talk a little bit about how you leverage that mindset towards your kind of career journey here at Bentley.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So, just a little bit about my career journey. So, like I mentioned, I was a fresh undergrad. I went to Sacred Heart University for undergrad, and then straight out of there, going to Bentley. I was somebody who, going into my career journey, I had lots of interests. I was able to take part in these extracurricular activities and other things when I was an undergrad, but I really didn't have a good sense of my story as well as really where to start in terms of how to network. I felt like I was very, at that point in time when I started, sort of in my thoughts with like how exactly do I go about doing this? So the work that I did with John at the start of this year, when it comes to the 2-hour job search, was there's a bunch of different steps that go into that, such as first identifying some of like your target industries and companies to look into, and then from there taking things a step further with potential people that you may have similar interests to in terms of like the work they work in, and as well as like if they're alumni, that's definitely another way to potentially bridge that connection. But then from there, as well as having informational interviews with some of these past alumni, a good way to then sort of further that connection just after one initial conversation would be to like routinely check in with them each month, but not just tell them what you're up to, but also like provide, in a sense, impact and like, find ways to actually nurture the conversation. So let's say you talked about a topic during the conversation that you thought was interesting. When you reach back out to them again, you may want to mention something like, oh yeah, I saw something in the news recently about this topic. I remember that was something we had previously talked about. And basically just finding ways to keep the conversation going. That's like been the motto that John's definitely tried to preach towards just my career journey thus far. And the process itself, whether it being just like developing my brand story and then also being able to practice these effective networking approaches, it led to a lot of success over this past semester. I was able to land an internship this past summer with Juniper Networks as a result of this type of strategy.
That's awesome, Robert. I think it's really helpful to hear, right? I think many of us, frankly, maybe not Audra and Faith since they do this all the time. Networking is a little bit of, it's a skill that you aren't born knowing what to do. And it sounds like it gave you a structure and some help and guidance on how to keep those conversations going so that you could actually leverage towards impact, which I think is exactly what the grad career group is hoping to do. Faith, speaking of that, Robert talked a lot about leveraging alums, and you mentioned that at the beginning of one of our differentiators is really we do have an alumni network that is not only quite expansive, but it is also very responsive. And so I would love for you to talk a little bit about some of the signature events that we have that leverage our alums, and what are the ways that we are purposefully connecting our students to our alumni base, separate from what Robert's doing, which is reaching out to them through his own networking plan.
Absolutely. So I think of three signature events we're doing this fall. We completed our Career Success Summit, which is an annual event in September. And we had 13 alumni come this year. It's a whole day event, which speakers and the author of the 2-Hour Job Search came. It was a great day. But I know Rob and Ethan were there. But we had 13 alumni come and do 30-minute group sessions, kind of speed sessions with interested students on case analysis of situations from their own experience, whether it was from industry or career management perspective. And that was designed to elevate the skills of the students in a sense of being articulate, being able to present questions, being able to be active listeners, and it's all and connect with the alumni. So there was multiple reasons why we've structured it that way. And it was a big success, and the students really loved it. So we loved that. We also have coming up in October a week-long professionals and alumni in residence week. Students are offered the opportunity to meet one-on-one virtually with a variety of alumni from different and professionals from different industries. And then the big event, which Audra is really the driver of, is our career conversations events in the fall. And I just have to say, Audra can explain it more because it's a blast. It's a great networking event. But I contacted an alumni yesterday evening about would they be interested in coming. 5 a.m. this morning said, yes, I've got to arrange my childcare. 6 a.m. this morning, he said, yes, the whole family's coming. We're going to come up to Boston. And I didn't realize he lived 3 hours away. And he's like, I'm in. I can't wait to talk to the students. And I think that's just a really good example of what our alumni are like. It's just phenomenal response.
I couldn't agree more, Faith. And Audra, I'd love for you to tell us even more about grad career conversations, because it is a really incredible way that our students and our alums are learning from each other and gaining from our broader community. So if you could tell us about that, that would be fabulous.
Sure. Career Conversations has been around since 2013, believe it or not. So it's been around for a number of years, and we're constantly iterating it so that it's better and better. So from a structural perspective, we typically have about 25 to 30 alumni and professionals that are kind of womaning, manning, personing a table. And it's really small group, table group conversations. So every 20 minutes over the course of 2 hours, a bell will ring to inform and identify the time for students to move around and meet a new person. But again, a lot of them are alumni, and to Faith's point, and I love that story, Faith. That's the first time I've heard that. It sounds like it happened early this morning, but I have been actually recruiting alumni to join us since the summer. And we probably have about the 25 right now, and that is something that I really love as part of my job, outreaching to them and connecting with them, because oftentimes I might have known them when they were a student. So they actually come from organizations like Citizens Bank and State Street and Fidelity Investments and Deloitte. I can certainly mention a whole host of other companies, but they come from all these different areas as well. So they can come from consulting, the finance area, marketing, analytics, the human factors area. So all of the different roles and positions, different levels, but mostly people that are manager levels and above. And again, it's really meant to be fun. So like I said, I love ringing that school bell every 20 minutes, hearing everybody kind of get up and move around. And we are ending this in-person one. So we are having an in-person one on November 5th. We're having a virtual one via Zoom on December 2nd. And again, We are looking forward to having all of the students join and have a fun time, but the in-person one is ending with a nice, fun, hour-long networking reception. So as I said, it's meant to be informative, it's a learning and it's a connecting event, and it's something that the students typically look forward to each year.
Awesome.
And can I just say that the
Please do.
alumni look forward to it too, because they
Yes.
love seeing each other again on campus. So
That's true.
that's a
Very
whole
true.
added benefit to it. So Ethan and Robert, when you come back, it's going to be great.
That's right. So I want to shift a little bit, and I want to talk to Robert and Ethan about um, non-grad career development support you've gotten here at Bentley in your career. So I'd love to talk about for either of you to share stories, if you have them, about faculty members opening up opportunities for you to connect, for you to think about curriculum. So things in the classroom that you've been able to leverage in your informational interviews, or where you feel particularly prepared to join organizations by virtue of things that you've done in the classroom. Ethan, I know that you are very, very new to Bentley, but I'm curious if either of you have any stories of either of those things that might be interesting for the folks on the line.
Yeah, I can start. So in terms of, because the courses I'm in right now, my MBA, it's a mix of both management and analytics. And I've seen as though with each analytics class, one message that each of my professors have tried to get across is just the idea and ability to storytell and, actually be able to explain like, well, why is this important? Like, what's the real reason like this could be beneficial? And that's something where this summer with some of the projects I was working on, I felt as though I really needed to leverage this idea because I was presenting a project to people from different areas of the business that might not have had much knowledge at all on the topic that I was working on. So like being able to explain it in a way that it makes sense to like a broader audience at like a high level, essentially, being able to explain different projects like that. That knowledge initially started with some of the courses I took here that work in analytics.
I've heard that story, Robert. You're not the only person from an analytics background who has shared exactly that. The beauty of Bentley, I will say out loud for anyone who's actually any fields that Bentley offers, including accounting, Ethan, is that Bentley, all of our degrees are rooted in a business school. And part of it is about application. It's not all just theory. It's not, here's how you do the analysis and we're just letting you run away, because our belief is that you need to make a business impact by virtue of the work that you're doing. And so something that I hear time and time again when I get the chance to talk to employers is that our students are really well prepared, exactly as you described, Robert, to not only do the technical thing, but actually explain it, which often puts our students a step above, both in their actual work, but then in their interview process as well.
And Emma, can I just add, in this age of AI, that there's the technical skills you're coming out of Bentley with are top notch, but it's the ability to do the storytelling, the humanness part is the critical skill that the employers are looking for, because AI and tech can't do that. And so we're seeing across the board, I think I was just in a webinar that 8 out of 10 employers are looking for human skills to elevate the opportunity. And I think you're both going to be really well positioned for that. I think Bentley does a great job in that.
Yeah, and I'll add a different statistic. Our GMAC, the Grad Management Advisory Council, does a survey of employers every year, and they ask what skills are needed now and what skills are needed in the future. And the skills that are always at the top of the list, whether it's now or in the future, are problem solving, are strategic thinking, are communication. And yes, things like ability to use AI and to innovate are moving up that list very quickly. But as Faith said, it's that intersection of those two pieces that Bentley's curriculum is really well setting you up for. And then you leverage grad career development resources in order to be able to share that story with people to great effect. So, Faith, I would love to ask you on a slightly different topic. I'd love to talk about how grad career development and our broader career development center supports international students who are navigating the US market.
I would be happy, but I'm going to refer to Audra because she is our international student specialist. And while I can speak about it, I think Audra is
Even
awesome,
better.
awesome at this.
Agreed.
You're so kind, Faith. And yes, I do have it in my title as an international student specialist. Have had that for the last 5 years or so, and definitely love working with all students. That's the reason why I've been in this role for so long. But working with specifically with international students who will just acknowledge it's challenging out there in general, but very challenging these days. So again, not to sugarcoat that, but to say that we have a very forward-thinking mindset when it comes to challenges like this. I like to say a colleague of ours talks about things being very cyclical. Things go up, things go down, things change. Things are never always perfect or rosy. So we have to be able to deal with challenges again and move forward. So we have a very forward looking, positive mindset. We encourage our international students to talk with us. As I said, going from a coaching perspective that we talked about earlier, that they are always, and students are always, we're available to anybody who might have questions on an individual basis. But I did want to mention that we do have a lot of programming and resources that are available. We do quite a bit of collaborating across campus with our partners, whether they be the academic advising and engagement, our Center for International Students and Scholars, faculty members, student groups, et cetera, to make sure that all students are, and international students in specific for this question, are being supported. So just to share a little bit, it all starts with the pre-work. And one of the pre-work items for students to start early during the summer is to participate in an InnerStride, which is one of our partners. I'll talk about that in a second. An online international student job search preparation course. It's very simple to go through, but it's very thorough. And I do think that it prepares students early. We also, in orientation, we have a specific orientation for international students that it's made up. It's usually a half day or a full day at times, and we have a number of different speakers that are geared towards a variety of international student topics. So just to throw that out there. I had mentioned InnerStride, and InnerStride is a resource I will thank Faith and our senior leaders for investing in. And we've been partnered with them for over 6 years. And it is a tool that was developed by international students for international students and comprises a lot of specific information and news feeds that are very timely and relevant to international students candidates. It also has wonderful features, including Visa Insights. So there's understanding of what organization. So as you're building your list, as Robert was sharing in terms of the LAMP list and the 2-hour job search, they can utilize the InnerStride to figure out which organizations have historically sponsored in the past, which is very good information. It also has, again, networking features, webinars on timely topics. And so again, this is something specifically that not all universities offer, but Bentley has been investing in this resource for, again, over the 6 years. In terms of programs, recently we just had one with a gentleman who is the author of Power Ties, an International Student's Guide to Finding a Job in the United States. We had over 40 students participate. And again, it was a super engaging conversation on a topic that he loves, and the students were very engaged. We had received some feedback from the students who had attended who said that they would definitely promote this going forward. And we also do have kind of the US job search is one thing, but just to make sure that all international students are aware that they should be looking globally as well. So we do have a program that's featuring global career options with one of my colleagues here, but at the same time, our vice president who's going to be speaking on behalf of a global career search methodology. So again, we talked about alumni, and I'll end off with, we are having, along with our Center for International Students and Scholars, an event that's focused on international student and alumni networking, which is happening on October 21st. So alumni are always involved in our programming. And so those are just a couple of the things when it comes to supporting international students.
Thanks, Audra. And I think it's really important, as you said, to specifically call out support for international students, particularly given context. But I do want to just put on the screen some of the other resources we offer to all students, including InterStride, that is specifically for international students, just so folks on the line are able to see the variety of resources that our students can leverage in their job search. And many of these, I know, Faith, there's a push to start engaging with them. And Ethan, my guess is, knowing you and your story, you maybe did some digging into this before joining us at Bentley to look at these over the summer before you start, so you can really hit the ground running.
Yes, we offer pre-work. We ask the students to complete pre-work by orientation, and that will really position the student to have their resume in good shape, their LinkedIn profile, which is an essential now. 85% of recruiters go right to LinkedIn. They only look at your resume for 6 to 8 seconds, so your LinkedIn is really essential. And we also have an aspiration survey, because we want you to know what you are looking for, so we can customize our programming to meet your needs. I think that's one of the joys of working at Bentley, is how nimble we are, that we can shift based on what the needs of the current population is. And then the InterStride is a big component of that. And Career Leader, which is our assessment, which Rob, I'm not sure about Ethan, but Rob, did you do the Career Leader assessment with John?
Yep, in the summer of 2024, like before I got onboarded, that's what I did.
Yeah, perfect, excellent. So that's exactly what we'd like a student to do, because it really gives you a sense of yourself, starting with the 5 kind of the career mapping journey that Audra is talking about. It's story crafting is the second step, but the first thing is choices and understanding yourself. You can't craft your story until you have knowledge of either careers, industries, and yourself. And so that's a huge component of it. And it really comes together at orientation, where we do a pitch competition, which kind of pulls together all of the different story bylines of your life. And it's a really fun event. And I don't know, it's a good time, and we try to incorporate it. It's all about the storytelling.
And I just wanted to add really quickly that I know that Ethan has also done his Career Leader for pre-work. It was something that we utilized to discuss in the negotiation process. I wasn't sure if Ethan, you've wanted to say something further about Career Leader.
Yeah, Career Leader definitely helped me make my final decision. I was choosing between a bunch of different firms, and Audra had the foresight to tell me, go look at your Career Leader again, and look at the things that you value in a company, and what do you want out of a career. So I just was able to look back at that, and that ultimately helped me make my final decision, just looking at the results from that. So very helpful thing that I did back at the beginning of the summer that ended up being a really vital resource at the end of the recruiting process.
Awesome. Well, I'd love to finish this part of the conversation, Faith, with a little help from you. Of a lot of students will ask, who's recruiting at Bentley? What buckets of organizations that are particularly interested in Bentley students? And so I would love for you to give us some color on that.
Absolutely. We focus really on 3 segments of the market. We have a huge, strong history in financial services, accounting, and finance. So that's a large bucket of employers that we have direct partnerships with. Technology, which I know is a misnomer sometimes, because technology is everywhere, but there's some very specific technology companies that we are involved with. And then, of course, we are in the Boston area, so life sciences, bio, healthcare is a huge component. And when I think of that, I think of UMass Memorial, I think of Mass General Brigham, I know a number of analytics students have gone to Mass General Brigham. We have Juniper Networks. Rob is at this summer, but I think they were just purchased by someone else. I'm trying to remember who, Rob.
Yep, HP.
Yeah, okay, all right. We have the classic, State Street, Fidelity. We have the Global 7 accounting firms. We have Akamai, Takeda. Trying to think of who else. So it's a pretty broad group, and we are constantly identifying new employers and new opportunities. Particularly, honestly, in this environment, there's been constriction in the marketplace, and so everyone is exploring new opportunities. And so the example of the alumni I said that's coming to our Career Conversations event, he's at a biopharma firm in New York, and I'm very intrigued by that company, and I'm looking forward to making stronger connections there.
Awesome. Well, I'm going to stop our conversation here only because I want to talk a little bit about what it looks like to apply to Bentley if you are compelled, as Ethan was, that this might be an interesting place for you to go by virtue of these amazing resources here. And then we'll certainly make sure to hit the Q&A and make sure everyone's individual questions are answered. And so I do want to just very briefly talk about applying to Bentley. Our application requirements are, I would say we want to get to know you exactly the way that Audra and Faith are saying they want to get to know you if you come here to campus. But we also want to make sure that you're able to complete this with the most ease you possibly can. And so you can see the different requirements here on the screen. I do want to call out a couple of things, particularly in relation to this conversation. So you see here that we not only want your resume, but we do want your LinkedIn profile. And if you don't have one yet, the Bentley application process is a wonderful time to get started with that. In some ways, one, so we can get to know you, but also so you're prepared to hit the ground running when it's time to actually start your job search. I also want to call out that we are testing optional, GRE, GMAT optional, and we truly mean that. If you have a score that you think would benefit your application, we would love to see it, but if you have not tested, that is no problem whatsoever. And for our international students, I do want to call out that if your schooling was not done predominantly or entirely in English, we do require an English language test, and we do require your transcript to go through an international transcript evaluation, which can take some time. So I just call those things out to ensure that you're leaving yourself the right amount of time to get all of that done. The other thing I just want to talk about is our application deadlines. So if you are interested in joining us, you can see here for spring 2026, we are accepting applications from domestic students or students already in the United States through December. However, if you are thinking of applying internationally, we are no longer accepting applications by virtue of the visa process. We want you to be successful in it and have enough time. And at this point, that is more limited. You can see our fall application deadlines listed, and those are coming up fast and furious, our priority rounds. And we really recommend you applying as early as you are able to put together a wonderful application. And the reason for that is twofold. One, it allows us to consider you fully for things like merit scholarships or graduate assistantships and things of that nature. But two, it gives you the opportunity to find out if you've been admitted to Bentley such that you can start building relationships on campus as early as possible, right? We heard about how Ethan was able to leverage his summer to really make his time here at Bentley fruitful. Similarly, if we're able to have you in our admitted student pool sooner, we can start conversations about what it looks like to be a Bentley student and leverage these resources and things like that. Faith and Audra are so open to connecting with our admitted students to start their journey. It's a huge part of your decision-making process. And we know, remember from where I started this, that a lot of the reason folks go to graduate school is with a career outcome in mind. And so we know, again, much like Ethan, part of your decision is going to be about, can these people help me get to where I want to go and help me build the skills that I need to have a successful job search. And so we want you to have enough time to engage with us to really make that determination.
And
The last
Emma,
thing,
can I just
oh,
say, part
Nate,
of our
please.
pre-work encourages all students to meet with a coach over the
Nice.
summer. I think it's essential to really position yourself because the academics are going to become hard and fast. And so it's great if you can do as much focus on your career preparation ahead of time. And we strongly encourage that.
Strongly. The last thing I'll say before doing a little bit of Q&A is that we really do want to get to know you here at Bentley. That runs through all of our different the different parts of the graduate student journey. And so I hope the second QR code from the left on your screen is to set up a consultation with the admissions team. I hope folks on the line will take advantage of that so that we can talk about your individual questions. So we can find out what your career aspirations are and start to gather information for you about how Bentley can help position you in those ways. And so we hope you'll take advantage of that. You also can see on the screen some opportunities to connect with us on social media. The thing I'll say about YouTube that I would really urge you to go see is this session, right? Really specific on the graduate career journey, and that is fabulous. However, we've talked very little about the academic programs here at Bentley as part of this conversation. And on YouTube, we have information sessions and other mock classes and other content that can help you dig into those pieces of our programs. And so I'd really welcome you to spend some time there. So I see a few questions in the chat. We have time for at least one. We have a student on the line who's interested in this. Audra, I'm going to send this to you because I think you're the perfect person to answer it. Who's interested in how Bentley, if there are supporting mechanisms at Bentley for international students interested in studying accounting. And if you could help us think through and maybe tell us a story or two of international students who have gone through our accounting program and how they navigated their time here, that would be wonderful.
Thank you so much. And absolutely, there is one person that I'm thinking of specifically who is originally from Ghana as well. I believe that was where the question was coming from. And he graduated in May of 2024, I believe. And the interesting thing about him is when he first started, he was hesitant to utilize his resources. He ended up connecting with someone that put him in touch with myself. And I think that there were some questions about interest in looking for opportunities to boost his finances and so forth. So again, it started in a different way, not necessarily just looking for, assistance from a career perspective, but he was looking for support overall. And so it was really a relationship that we developed over the course of the time that he was here. So again, the trust needed to happen. So over time, we had met kind of like Robert and John. We met on a regular basis as soon as we developed and that spark and that conversation to begin with. He was, again, a little bit hesitant about networking. So we had lots of conversations about what that looked like. He participated in a ton of events. And it was really interesting how he went from that until to the person that he is now, who really open about engaging with others, does a good job in terms of informational meetings. I remember the way that he ended up finding his internship was through a contact that we had put him in touch with, an alumni again. So we're going back to the alumni discussion. And it was meant to be an informational, but he impressed them so much that they offered him an internship on the spot. He did an excellent job one semester. They asked him to stay. And so he had a full year of internship experience as an MSA student in taxation that led him to his next opportunity after graduation. So again, maybe that's a long-winded way to say to international students that it's really important that you utilize your resources. Sometimes there are cross-cultural differences that may keep you from doing so, but to use your voice, to reach out, to know that that's what we're here for, to participate in our programs, to utilize our coaching. And again, hopefully it'll all turn out wonderful at the end. I feel like I always say this to Bentley students. Everybody that I've worked with over the years, everybody is successful. You put the time in, you put the effort in, and the positive results follow. So that's a thought.
A wonderful story, Audra. Thank you. And actually, I am going to ask Robert and Ethan, if you could close us out, because that story is so perfect, and I almost want to end there, but I would love for the two of you to give some advice to your current the prospective students on the line as it comes to how to leverage Bentley to great career success. Because I will say we kind of stack the deck. Robert and Ethan are like our the picture perfect users of our resources. But I would love for you to give advice to folks so that they too can be as successful as you've been in your job search.
Yeah, I could start. So as you mentioned, really leverage your resources, not just the Career Development Center, but also with professors. A lot of the professors, especially in the Masters of Accounting program, like come from industry, so they have a lot of experience. They know exactly what the recruiting cycle looks like. So just ask them questions, pick their brains as well. One of the professors I actually spoke to before I had started my interview process, like on the first day of class, he's like, I know a lot of you are looking for full-time jobs and internships, and now is the time. So if you have, the question in an interview where you're asked, what types of things are you learning in your classes? Like, here's what you can tell them. So really just like understanding and like what you're going to be learning in this program, and then telling that to, employers or anyone you're talking to, whether it's informational or not. Um, just being able to like talk about that is really valuable, and, reaching out to your professors and having them in your corner. So
That's wonderful advice. Robert, what's on your mind?
Yeah, I would say just to piggyback off what Ethan said, a good way that I would suggest about approaching, like when you're having a conversation with somebody, whether it be informational or in like an actual interview setting, a good way to not lose sight of your story is to focus on, and this is something I've been taught in my time here, it's helped me a lot. There's three main points that you should go about addressing yourself, which are both from a present perspective, what you're currently doing, what you previously have done, and then also what you're looking to do in the future and like what you're striving to go as your next step. If you can get those three points down, you'll be able to be confident no matter the setting or conversation.
Amazing. Well, I'm going to end us there because those are such great thoughts to keep in our heads as we enter the rest of our day. I hope folks on the line will really consider staying in touch with us. As I mentioned, we want to get to know you through the application process, through your consideration process. And so do reach out. We would love to continue this conversation. And huge thanks to Faith, Audra, Ethan, and Robert for your incredible insight today. Really appreciate it. Have a great rest of your day,
Our
everyone.
pleasure. Thank you.
Bye.